Welcome to Sadok with Sandra. Sadok means just and righteous in Hebrew. Our mission here is to strengthen and to develop our community through education, elevation, and empowerment. This is Season 1, Episode 3, Straight Talk, Vice Presidential Debate 2024, Real Opinions and Reactions from Our Community. So we're about to go live at the Vice Presidential Debate Watch Party at Pecan Tree Cafe. So we will be joining the people as they come in. Lisa Kennedy is joining us, and we can see ourselves now, right? So we see what's going on. All right. So Lisa, again, so tell everybody what you do and who you are.
Okay, I am Lisa Kennedy, and I wear actually several hats in the community. I'm the president of the York City School Board. I'm the president of the York County Democratic Women's Federation. I'm the vice chair of the Democratic Party of York County, and that's just a couple hats that I wear. And so the initial question that Sandra had asked was about why everyone should vote, and my question is why not?
Well, but everybody's talking though about why should they vote.
Well, why you should vote is it is one, our civic duty and our responsibility. I know that might be a new term for some folks because conversation and education has been really different around what is being taught in our classrooms and for kids to really understand what their civic role and responsibility as a young person really is moving into adulthood. But the vote is actually your opportunity to have a voice in what is happening in your community, what is happening in your state, and what is happening nationally. Many times folks look at only voting in the presidential election, and it is highly important to vote, of course, for whoever our president is going to be. But it is just as important to vote locally, because that is where you're going to see the biggest impact of change in your community and in your society. And when you don't vote, dollars and cents aren't allocated properly within a community, because the number of votes that show up when votes come in is how they make decisions and what determines what we get in our community. So voting is very important, and exercising your right to have a voice. What is the point of complaining when you haven't put your taken your walk to the poll or done a mail-in ballot to exercise your right to vote?
I mean, that's true. That's something that I always say, that we don't have a lot of power, especially when you don't have a lot of money. But where your power comes into play is your power of the votes. Also, you can volunteer. There's other things that you can do to exercise your voice, exercise your power. And so that is a great point of voting up and down the ballot for the local elections, where everyone is, and I'm trying to be mindful of when the debate starts because I don't want to overlap that, but everybody says that the president is going to be the saving grace, but the president needs help from the House of Representatives. The president needs help from the U.S. senators. And then, if the federal does something, then the state level has the opportunity to give you even more rights than what the federal does. So that's why you got to vote for governor. That's why you got to vote for the state House of Representatives. That's why you have to vote for the state Senate as well, because the House divided can't stand. So if you got one House Republican, one House Democrat, even if the governor or the president is Democrat, what the agenda that they want to put forth, they can't put forth because they always got somebody blocking them. And that's what we're having right now for the federal government with the House of Representatives, right? So you say, okay, what did Biden do? What did somebody else do? They try to get things through, like the immigration bill, but it got killed through the House. So same thing for the state. You want more money for raising their minimum wage. We need to vote for people in the state Senate that want to raise the minimum wage. We have a Democratic governor, we have a Democratic House, but we have a Republican Senate, and they vote against that type of stuff. So know who you're voting for too. Right now, we have a contentious race in the 95th, right?
We do.
We have Representative Carol Hill Evans for the House. You know, we talked earlier with Carol Hill Evans that they're trying to take her seat. So, do you know that Jasmine Rivera is a Republican?
That is something that has come up a number of times, and make no mistake, there's no confusion. Representative Carol Hill Evans has represented us um, for many years within this community and has done a great deal. She has brought a lot of money to this community, and I believe last time I calculated and checked, it was over $100 million that she's brought to our community since being our state representative for the last 7 8 years. So her website is full of all of the opportunities that she has afforded us in our community, and as well as understanding that her opponent is a Republican. She is not a Democrat. And so be mindful of who is representing you, know who your folks are who are speaking on your behalf, because the other part of not voting, that's a vote as well.
Right. Absolutely.
And people don't
Absolutely.
recognize that when you choose to opt out or you choose to stay home, that is your vote.
Absolutely.
And so when issues arise in your community, when issues arise in your home, when things arise in a school district, when things arise on a at a city council level, nothing happens when representation is not at the table. And a part of representation means you exercising your power and understanding your role as a citizen. And that means we have a responsibility to vote. And if that means that you have some questions to ask or understand what does that mean, there are plenty of folk who are available and always open to answering those questions. I am one of them. And so please feel free to reach out. Sandra's another one, and there'll be many within our community that are willing to have that conversation with you, even if it's just to decide, well, why should I vote? Why does my one vote matter?
Right.
And in many cases, in our last election, there were several seats that were won by very small margins.
Right.
So your one vote really does matter for you.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So did you want to join us over here and talk a little bit? Okay. That's all right.
Well, we have all evening.
Exactly. Exactly. And I, okay. Oh, so let me make sure I understand you. Are you saying you are an undecided voter, or you're wondering why people are still undecided? Well, right, okay, okay. Yeah, I tell you what, that's the question. And you know, I'm gonna tell you my opinion on that is hate.
Yes.
You know, I've talked to some Black men who are supporting other people, and the reasons they gave me is somebody in office did not hear them, did not answer their particular issue. And, you know, and I think, you know, I heard the background of once why someone is running for 95th, and that was a similar type of thing. And this is where we need to look past our own individual needs and look at the big picture. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I always talk about, they say about student loan forgiveness. I had friends who got forgiven $300,000 in student loans. I did not yet. You know what I mean? So should I say I'm not voting for Biden or a Kamala Harris because I didn't get that benefit? And that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing people say, I didn't personally benefit.
That's unfortunate.
But guess what? I mean, if you are a man and you have a daughter or granddaughter or, you know, a wife or girlfriend or somebody, how about them? Yeah, yes. How about the next generation? You know? Yeah. Right. And that just puts me on mind. Well, isn't that correct? Isn't that correct? Right, 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 right. Exactly. Exactly. Right. I don't know if you can hear her, but we have someone who's commenting that those who are thinking of their own needs are thinking just like Trump, the me mentality.
The other thing that I was going to add to that undecided question is, uh, I really don't know what we're undecided about, because knowing what potentially is going to be the outcome if Kamala Harris does not win is enough for me to know what I need to do. And while there are many kitchen table issues, minimum wage, health care, criminal justice, there's so many issues that we all really need to be talking about, and we do talk about, and we call them kitchen table issues. However, my concern is if we don't win on November 5th, there's no need to talk about kitchen table issues because there won't be a democracy. So the reality is we've got work to do. And the issues that are on the table that concern all of us are important, and we need to talk about them and talk about policies. And also understand that while we are voting for various folks on the ballot, it is rare that you're going to agree with someone 100% of the time for every policy that they may create. So
Absolutely.
those folks who feel like, well, or those one issue voters, that's a concern too. And so the reality is, if I am a person of color and I'm deciding to vote Republican, it is my humble opinion, I'm voting against myself. I'm voting against people that look like myself, look like you, and others that fall into those marginalized categories. And I value you, so my vote will be for Kamala Harris and the entire ballot. So recognize that undecided conversation, it's fair to have. You may still have questions. You may not know all the policies of one particular candidate or the other. Those are fair questions to ask, but don't sit out. Don't stay home. Don't throw away your votes. And when I say throw away your vote, I mean vote for someone else that is not necessarily in a major party, because the likelihood of them winning is
Very small. None.
is rare. And again, that's not to disparage anyone else who's on a ballot in the other party, but we do have a largely two-party system, and are we not on?
I'm doing a mic. No, you are.
Okay.
I'm doing a microphone check so you can hear me back here. So
Okay.
I think too that a lot of people who are undecided is because they, for some reason, they still believe and trust that the opponent is really going to do something for them. In their mind, they believe he said it, he's going to do it. I trust him and I believe in him. It doesn't matter that they see the lies, that they hear the lies, that they hear the rambling, that they hear nothing that comes out of his mouth about what they're saying they need, that he's not talking about policy. For some reason, they are trusting and believing in what he has to say. That's why they're still undecided. Because if you didn't believe, it's because if you didn't believe him, you wouldn't be undecided. If you didn't trust him, you wouldn't be undecided. It's because you believe him and you trust him. And I'm gonna tell you, you say having like the kitchen table talk, we're not gonna have a table because we're not gonna have a house to put the table in. If they think it's a game, if you think it's a game, vote for him and let him get in and see what happens. And see what happens. This is not just about you, it's not just about me, but it's about our future. And if you care about your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your future grandchildren, the future to come, then we need somebody that's going to be in office, that's going to represent all of us, not just a group of us, but all of us. Because we all need to be able to eat from the pot. And that's what the Democratic Party is all about, is making sure that everybody eats from the pot. The Republican Party, well, this is not a Republican Party right now. Let's just talk about what this is. This is a Trump party. The Republican Party no longer exists, if you ask me. This is a Trump party. And the only person that he wants to eat from the pie is people who look like him. That's it.
A select few. A select.
So that's just my personal opinion. I'm not undecided about anything because I see what I'm looking at. I don't want to, it's like an abusive relationship. If you are in a relationship with somebody that degrades you, talk about you, beat you, tear you down, call you names, would you stay? Would you stay in an abusive relationship with someone like that? Someone who every time you turn around, they have something negative to say about you. They don't uplift you. They don't say nothing positive. They don't add to your life. They take away from your life. Would you stay in a relationship with an abusive person? If the answer is yes, then that explains probably why Trump is your vote. Again, just my opinion.
And the last thing I'll say as we're rounding up in time is just, when did we stop caring about an individual's character? That is my question. And that's not to say or imply that people can't make mistakes. Because we all are human, we all are fallible, and we all are going to make mistakes. That is true. So we used to elect individuals that could be seen as role models, that could be examples, or that children could look at and see themselves in that role or aspire to be like. And again, it's not to say that individuals don't make mistakes, because we all do. But the truth of the matter in this situation is we've not ever in history elected someone with that lacks moral character. Knowingly going in. So one thing.
How about a convicted felon? Have we elected a convicted felon in the House? I'm just asking. Maybe it was before my time. I don't know. Maybe it was before my time, but I don't recall ever that being something. If you was a convicted felon, that you can run for president, then why do we have are you a convicted felon on job applications? Then I guess people should proudly say, yes, I'm a convicted felon. Yes, I am a convicted felon, and I expect to get this job. I mean, if you could run for president, you should be able to get a job.
Well, that's absolutely right. And the same people saying that he has a convicted felon can run the same that say felon shouldn't vote. Felon shouldn't be employed. And they don't want to pardon those felonies. They don't want to expunge those felonies. And part of that, even when they talk about they are pro firearms, they're not pro firearms for the Black community.
Right. That part.
So that is why even with charging, there's overcharging, particularly to Black community, particularly to Black males, because they want to make sure that your ability to protect yourself is reduced.
I think education is key, and what you don't know, you don't know. But once you know something, then I feel like you're responsible for the information that you receive to do something about it.
It wasn't a very it was a pleasure being just for the dialogue. We can be about the importance of voting. I strongly encourage you to, if you've not registered to vote, please register to vote. Absolutely. You have until October 21st to register to vote. If you are still undecided as to what to do, as we talked a little bit about this last few minutes, is ask your questions, get the information you need to know. Don't sit back and choose not to vote because you feel like you don't have all the information you need to know. There's plenty of information that's available on candidates. You may go down to the Democratic headquarters office, which is located at 216 East Market Street. And you may secure literature on anyone that's on the ballot on the Democratic Party. That is also available at the Republican Party. I don't know the Republican Party's address, but that information is available as well. I'm fair. I'm being fair.
So, Roy, what's up with the black male perspective? What's going on with the black men here?
We're so involved in what we're doing.
They're involved?
Yeah, we're so involved.
Okay, tell me. Tell me what they are involved with.
Yeah, well, one first and foremost, it's an assignment, it's a duty. We stand on the shoulders.
So you're saying, hold on. Are you saying they should be involved or they're actually involved? What are you saying?
So they are involved.
Okay.
Yeah, they are involved. So or you don't see them involved? That's what they're doing.
No, I do. I do because I like right now I'm working with Women with Black Women. I'm working with Pennsylvania Black Women for Harris, but I also do know there is a Pennsylvania Black Men for Harris. So, and I do know there's a Win with Black Men. Now, but at the same time, when it comes to social media and local men, I'm seeing a lot of negativity, and I just said address one guy. He was actually from Philadelphia, but I addressed one who, thank you. I really see, I really see more negativity about Kamala Harris and favoritism toward Trump, and they even quoted RFK Jr.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, wow. Well, I haven't seen a number of those. I've heard a few. I mean, just for anyone to me right now, just to consider Trump,
Right.
I mean, you have to question your moral standings. Not even political.
Wait a minute. How do you question your moral standings to be pro-Trump when the Christian right is saying he's the savior?
Well, I don't know the Christian right is. I wouldn't follow the Christian right if they're saying he's a savior.
So you were saying you don't know about the right or him being the
Yeah,
savior,
I mean,
quote
because
unquote?
actually, I was extremely taken aback when I heard, and there are a few people like, especially those in law enforcement, I see
Right,
those leaning towards Trump,
right.
and I kind of understand why they may think that way, but I don't agree with because you're still going past the moral standards. I mean, what you have to stand for your freedom and your liberty versus anything else. That comes with question.
Background.
Belizean.
Say that again?
Well, where I'm from,
Belize?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if you had law enforcement.
No. So yeah. So both my siblings are law enforcement,
Okay.
and I'm military, ex-military. Private.
So that's what I was asking
Yeah.
because you were talking about the law enforcement.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe you had some degree.
Connection.
So you have some connection there.
I do.
Okay.
And not many of my not just my siblings direct, but their friends, childhood friends, they're law enforcement. And 9 times out of 10, law enforcement is pro-Trump.
Well, for a lot of the George Floyd bill, he's saying he's going to roll back a lot of it. A lot of the things that they put into place so that police officers are more accountable. So you would think that officers would be for that.
But they're not. That's exactly why they're for. So
Yeah.
actually, when he says something like that, get complete immunity.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right now, officers have what's called qualified immunity. So basically, if they were doing their job, but they made a mistake, then you can't sue them.
Yes.
But if they're malicious or say targeting you for protected class reason, then you can sue them.
So,
And that's why, again, if Trump is saying he'll give absolute immunity,
yeah,
then
that's weird.
they don't have to be as diligent. 'Cause that's what they have to do. That's what they have to think twice before they shoot. I mean, come on, how hard is that? You can't shoot somebody in the back because they're running, because they're faster than you. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, why is that wrong?
Why is that wrong? They're
Right.
moving away. You're not
Yeah.
in danger. The threat is gone.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
So one thing is immunity. The other thing what I see that most of the law enforcement folks are looking at was immigration, especially in regards to New York. So they're pushing towards that because in New York, and one of the big arguments I get is these guys are receiving free money and hotel stays while folks that are came here legally aren't. So they're big on that. That's why these guys are pushing the immigration. Although he rolled back and stopped the biggest and the strongest immigration bill that's
Exactly.
passed,
Exactly.
but that's not being highlighted, you know?
They-
So that's why I said
Yep.
to me, these guys are not, these guys, meaning those that are voting for Trump, are not wanting policy. They're wanting more greed or some sensation. And
I was just speaking about that. That is some type of personal benefit
yeah,
rather than communal benefit.
yeah,
You know, rather than, well, I guess it depends on whose community. I guess it depends on whose generation, as I was going to say, rather than generational benefit, because, you know, I don't see any of Trump's policies benefiting my children or grandchildren. You know, I just don't.
yeah.
I see them. Thank you so much. I'm going to actually push you. Thank you. So, you know, so I am hopeful that he is going to lose. He's going to lose because I'm otherwise fearful for what does it mean for my community. No, no, not even just 4 years, because they have through Project 2025, they almost have a coronation, you know. So, because one of the things that Trump said that was attributed to him is vote for me now, and you'll never have to vote again.
He did say that.
So, what is he saying? That I will be your king,
Yeah.
or,
He's not gonna leave.
or I'll deputize or whatever, whoever else I want to be in my place.
Yeah.
I mean, just think, you know, you talk about some relatives being government employees. My mother, before she passed, she was IRS employee. My aunt retired from Social Security. So they're saying they're firing everyone in federal government. They're going to fire everyone in federal government that has not said they bow down to Trump and bow down to the policies of 2025. So just imagine it. And then they're going to replace them with everybody who will pledge allegiance to them.
To him, yeah.
And this is my point, you know, I don't know what your faith is or whatever, but that's my point always to Christians. How do you put anybody above God?
Okay, yeah.
How do you put anybody that says they would be above God?
Yeah.
Above God.
Yeah. Yeah. He wants to be the next Putin or Kim Jong-un.
All right, that's why
what
he
he's pushing
admires
for.
them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know how, because you like he said, he would go after all his adversaries, all the people that wanted to prosecute him, all the people that wanted to hold him accountable. So you can't do that here, but you can do that there.
Yeah.
So that's why he admires them.
And one thing, he does what he says he's going to do, and he tells the world. So how can you accept that? Morally, how can you just think that that's okay? This guy literally said, you know what? I'm going to go after X, Y, Z. I'm going to fire this person. I'm going to roll back Roe v. Wade. I'm going to do it, and he does it. You know, so
Well, that's why he's trying to distance himself from Project 2020 right now, because everybody's looking at and saying that is crazy. That is worse than The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
You know, so now he's saying, oh no, you know, I don't have anything to do with Project 2025. And I'm saying, just think about your group of friends, family, supporters. If they made a plan and you're the person who actually had to execute that plan, do you think they would still be supporting you if you said, no, I'm not going to execute that plan? Do you know, so they would not be a proponent for you unless they knew you were down with the plan.
yeah.
Or they would start planning around you. They would kick you out the group, right? I mean, it's not just common sense. So yeah, that is amazing to me that anybody would buy him saying that he has no knowledge of Project 2025. First of all, if you didn't have knowledge and you wanted to be a leader, then you should educate yourself about it.
Correct.
So to keep saying I don't know anything about it and I don't want to know anything about it is that, you know, that self-serving denial.
Yeah.
So plausible denial.
Yeah, yeah.
So then when he gets there and start doing it, you say, oh, and what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Because now also the Supreme Court basically says he's immune.
Yeah.
from anything, prosecution suit, if he becomes president.
Yeah.
So if he lies to you this whole time, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so weird too, as in regards to a lot of males, especially black males. At first, it was hard to just see and say, you know what, Kamala Harris, look at the past and make sure she's the one to pick her. Yeah, I can see where that can be a thing as far as um picking her to be the next president when Biden was in office. So that was like a pill. So I said, hey, is there anyone else? However, I am fully taken aback of where this is going. Like literally, the amount of money she's raised, the infrastructure she's put together.
Oh, energy. When she
Oh my
was
goodness.
announced, so this is what my opinion, because I agree. While President Biden was running, and even before, didn't hear a lot from Kamala Harris. But once he passed that torch, hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And that's when, you know, a lot of other supporters or whatever came into play and putting money into it. So there was not a lot of energy. I know I wasn't very energetic. I knew I wasn't voting for Trump. I knew I wasn't voting for Trump. So I wasn't so energetic at the time about Biden, but I knew I wasn't voting for Trump. But when Kamala Harris came in, it was like new life, new blood. And with that, I think one of the things you said is black males considering her record, I think.
Yeah.
And that is normally spoken of in terms of her being attorney general.
Right.
So
Specifically then. Yeah.
she was a prosecutor.
Yeah.
So she was a prosecutor who prosecuted people.
Yeah.
But so when she stopped being a prosecutor, she was one of the proponents for the George Floyd bill for police accountability. So she was a proponent for the voting rights bill. So for all the things that protect our rights. So you even D.L. Hughley, did you see?
Apologize. Yeah.
So right. So he was one of her um biggest naysayers, I would say, until he said she sat down with him and said, "Will you really look at my record instead of the sound bites?" Really, what do we really know about her record as attorney general?
Yeah,
Did we look at?
No, we didn't.
Exactly.
Just went on sound bites.
All we know is what people have said. That's it. And he said he actually sat down and looked at the record and saw it was wrong. So the sound bites were wrong. So that's why he went on national television.
Said that at the debate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the
At the
DNC.
time, DNC.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that was great, and that was extremely honorable for him to do that.
because he's a very outspoken person, you know what I mean? He
Yes.
says what he wants to say when he wants to say.
Your followers,
Yeah.
and listeners. Yeah. So that was very good for him to do that. But one of the other thing is, besides the record and them looking at her, is the fact that well, I was against at first just everyone going behind Biden's back and pushing him out there. It seems as such, even though because I wanted Trump not to be that person.
Right.
So I said, you know what, it's now the time for that to happen. However, oh my goodness, when the tides turned, that was phenomenal.
When the tides turn for Kamala.
For Kamala,
Right. Okay.
that was phenomenal. I mean, that's uh groundbreaking.
Right.
It's just a great thing. History in making.
So I see Clifton made a comment in reference to that a lot of black men are supporting Trump because of, and then you said this too, the illegal
Immigration. That's a good point.
But again, you know, it's they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets. Remember, these are exaggerations, you know, so they
No, lies.
well
Basically, he said I lied.
that is true.
He said I
Absolutely.
lied on that.
Yes, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, you know, this is the divide and conquer type of thing. So he's telling people of color they're taking black jobs. What's a black job?
Black job.
So what he's saying is black jobs are the most menial, the lowest jobs. So these immigrants are coming in and they're taking the lowest jobs. When in reality, if you talk to farmers, if you talk to people in those type of industries, they'll say that they don't have applicants.
Right.
So United States citizens don't really want to work those jobs. So if you don't have applicants, then these people are willing to be migrant farm workers, where some United States citizens aren't willing to do it. So they're not taking jobs that you want, that you want. Now tell me it's a job you actually applied for, qualified for, and then couldn't get.
Yeah.
Now then, okay, I start listening. But these are jobs that people are not applying for. And again, I think it's a point and it's disrespectful for Trump to consider these lowest rung jobs Black jobs.
Sure.
And again, I was saying that this is the divide and conquer mentality because you're trying to, it's just like the poor against the poor.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put no taxes on tips. How about raising the minimum wage? You keep fighting that. So you're going to talk about also inflation, but you won't raise the minimum wage to rise at the same level goods and services rise. And Republicans continue to fight against raising the minimum wage. So it's like this smoke and mirrors.
Sure.
So that's what I say about that. And again, Clifton is talking about the criminal justice system and the entertainers and rappers are embracing Trump. Not all of them.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we got what was it? It was like Vice President Harris, Governor Tim Walz
Yeah, don't
at the DNC. So it's not all of them.
You got to remember those guys
Yeah.
that did endorse him. Many of them are getting paid for it.
Yes.
So that's what Lil Wayne, they gave him not just clemency, but also $1 million just to endorse Trump. They try to give 50 cents the same thing. So yeah, these guys are getting paid to do it. And those other two guys who came on stage in the Bronx at that rally to endorse them, two rappers, they were paid for that and they received clemency as well. So these guys, there's a motive, there's an incentive there for them to do that. And that's why if you look at any crowd and any rally that Trump had, you'll see a small crowd that said black for Trump. But he's trying to push that in here. So it's all staged.
Right. And yes, I understand that they're paid to sit behind him
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
So, and I was at Kamala Harris's rallies, and I'll be at one for Governor Walz tomorrow. And I know I didn't receive a dime. I did not receive anything. So the other thing that Clifton commented is that Trump, and this is something, now this is one thing that Trump is very good at marketing because he put his name on the COVID relief funds. So remember, they basically fighted against those even giving it to you, but once he gave it to you, or actually he didn't give it to you, it was like the state legislators gave it to you, then he said, okay, well, as long as my name is on it. And come on, people, why do we fall for this? Why do we fall for this? Because he wrote his name at the bottom of a check that you really think that came out of his pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you think that, oh, he thought about me. No, he did not. If it was really up to him, you wouldn't even have those dimes or those pennies. Because especially at the stage, they really fought against a lot of that.
Actually, his slow response is the cause of over 1 million people's death.
For it to be
His slow response, yeah. But to COVID, his advice of drinking bleach and slow response to COVID is the reason why so many people have transitioned.
Just talk to the people. Tell us why you should vote and share your opinion in reference to
Okay,
share your opinion in reference to why people should vote and what's going on.
okay. And that is what it is, my opinion. I just think there is a time for everything. And in this world, not only in the United States right now, but in this world, there's so much division and hatred and anger going on. And Trump is trying to take advantage of that. I think we need the spirit of a woman to intercede in all of this activity. Trump is trying to divide us. And you said earlier about black men, that's the greatest boogeyman that he used. He wants the white folks, and I hope they don't fall for that, to think that he is going to be the savior to keep them safe from the blacks and from the Haitians and all the other people that's coming in here. Now, this is just my opinion. And he's trying to use that to get people to vote for him. We don't need that type of energy in the world anymore. Let's get a woman's perspective in there, and I think this system will change because we need that different perspective. Hope people don't fall for it. White folks or black folks, don't fall for the okie doke.
Jeff, I did hear you. I did hear you say that you need to have a woman's perspective. So I really kind of think that's the other issue with some, in particular Black men, and men in general, because of the fact that there was a period of time of believe the woman, and every woman is right, and that's not something that I really was a advocate for, because me doing criminal law and all, I know everybody lies. So I was not an advocate of always just believe women because they're women, but that period of doing that has disenfranchised a lot of men. So that's where we're saying, okay, now is the time of the woman. You have people saying, no, now is the time to get back to the men. So, but
They did a good job. Abortion.
Okay.
And,
Governor Wall.
Governor Wall
Right.
did a great job on that. And then he did, and Drake, he could have brought it in Elizabeth Warren infiltration. He did stairs. But so actually, Vance did a great job by saying we're trying to work together, but he messed up when he went into the Trump. But he tried to close it with the Trump line, and but that's where he dropped Florida.
So Vance kept talking about immigration and the border and children. And it's curious to me that he said that Homeland Security lost so many children when that started from Trump's kids in the cages.
Yeah.
And separating the parents, and then they didn't know where everybody was. Yeah. Okay. So we are here with the Sherry Rowland Washington. Always we are mistaken as twins. So whenever I'm about town, they think I'm Miss Sherry.
And they think I'm Attorney Thompson.
Yeah.
Antika.
Yes. Thank you for coming back in this discussion. So, Sherry, what do you think? So there was somebody on the last break who commented that I guess Vance was wiping up Governor Walz. So what do you think about round two? What do you think about round one, before and after the break?
All right. I don't believe JD was wiping up Waltz. What I believe is JD was imploring his rhetorical strategy skills of ethos, pathos, and logos. He's appealing to the people by being likable.
Listen, man, we got to be like
ethos.
Right.
Okay,
Right, level down.
ethos, as he's trying. He didn't use a lot of evidence. What he's doing is using words and stories to create that passion and that personal story, but he never answered the question.
Right.
It was a more, I understand how you feel. Oh, I feel for you. I'm relatable.
Right.
He didn't answer the questions.
Right.
And that's his way of debating. Whereas
Governor Walz.
Governor Waltz, he's pure debate 101. You see him taking notes, you see him going back to facts.
Right.
He's sticking to the facts. What I liked what he did is he was honest. You know what? I made a mistake. I wasn't there.
And that's Governor Walz.
Governor Waltz. That's
Right.
transparency, right?
Mhm.
The questions, some of his comments, JD's comments, using children as mules.
Yeah, he was right. Hyperbolic as well as Trump. He was. The one question that she asked is, as vice president, will he check Trump?
Yeah.
And it's very obvious that he wouldn't, because he's using the same tropes as Trump.
He's using rhetoric.
Yeah, exactly.
The person who prepared him for the debate tonight prepared him to appeal to the people from an emotional point of view, because most of Trump's followers are emotional. And he wants to be viewed as winning.
Right.
He did not answer the questions. Go back, dissect it, remove the rhetorical strategies, and look at the facts.
Right.
But I wish the fact checker was here tonight.
Right.
Because
I heard them.
The QR code was there. I was trying to get a picture.
Okay. But I also heard Governor Walz say that they agreed not to fact check. So that's probably the only way he agreed to do the debate, is not to be immediately fact checked.
Okay.
So again, that's where you can sound like you are doing a lot or know it all when you're not being immediately fact checked
At all.
So
way better than the first one.
Well, he is right.
Yeah,
You
but
know, obviously he's more coherent, but and I don't think he really stated any real policies. You know, one of the things he said is the Affordable Care Act, it took Trump to make it good.
yeah,
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. That's why exactly Trump says I have a concept of a plan because of the fact that there's nothing else that he could do to the affordable or for the Affordable Care Act.
and denying what happened on January 6th to our officers.
Yes.
Again, I think that's a clear distinction between Governor Walz, a man who admitted, I made a mistake, I wasn't there, and
Right,
JD who's saying nothing happened, it
Right.
wasn't bad.
right. Yeah, it was just Facebook or social media, something, and the people are being trampled, people are being beat, and the people being law enforcement. So we're back with Lisa Kennedy. What's up with that sign, Lisa? What's up with that sign?
I didn't like what the sending that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So on the news also, and you hear in the background is other people also giving their opinion. So you didn't like so sort of saying that Governor Walz was not.
I was I wondered if they were watching the same.
Well,
I was
yeah.
I was watching the way that they're framing it and playing many case wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And at least as I thought that Vance was going to be his typical crude, rude,
Right.
fast, Nancy South. So he was not that. He was actually trying to be endearing, or seem endearing, which is not his typical character, but really paying attention to. Thought it was going to be a little more grittier.
Yeah, I think that's what someone else had commented that she thought was going to be a little more fiery. Yeah. I don't think that Governor Walz comes off as that though. You know what I mean? I thought a coach, a good old boy, you know.
I mean, the other way. I thought it would be and create more of a kind of argumentative debate, and that really didn't happen. And actually, for people, that's better because at least you get to hear
Right.
person.
But you don't get to
position,
see the true person.
not and
Yeah.
and it is my belief for feeling. I'll say that feeling that when we saw Vance tonight, his opponent.
So his representative.
Yeah.
So Van was representative tonight.
His alter ego, I'll say it that way, as opposed to who you typically see. Well, now again, having seen by going to the DNC and having spent some time with Walt in person, he is who he is the hometown
Right.
guy, the
Right.
coach. And so if we start to dissect, all that they're saying, I just found it interesting, even down to the end. He still couldn't get Vance to say,
He
that,
wouldn't admit,
he would not admit that Trump lost the election.
he would not admit that January 6th was a horrible situation. Would not take accountability for that or say allow Trump to take accountability for that. He lied about the Affordable Care Act. He, misplaced the responsibility of any missing children by Homeland Security, but that definitely started the kids in the cages after Trump. So,
If you listen to Vance, everything is related to immigrants and migrants. Right? Just every problem that we have, the answer is do something with them, do something. Oh, except for what they had the brief conversation about guns, and then he was able to shift to say that, well, it's because of the people with mental health.
well, and then, so even with the immigrants, on one hand, he said, well, I don't want to blame immigrants, but on the other hand, he said, I blame Lala Harris for letting immigrants in. Well, then therefore you're blaming immigrants. So, I mean, honestly, this is why I always hope that people are truly discerning, you know what I mean? So not just what you hear, but filtering through. Exactly. That's a good point. Not that what you just hear, even just once tonight, and because somebody put forth a good face tonight, but listen to all the other things they have been saying at every other time they had the opportunity to say it, and especially in closed rooms where it's people that think like them. This has been Straight Talk Vice Presidential Debate 2024, real opinions and reactions from our community. And remember, your mind is a weapon. When you pursue education, aim for elevation, and channel your creativity into empowerment, then no door can hold you and no one can stop you. Your mouth is a weapon that can slay your doubts and insecurities. Speak life to yourself.
Need this nugget of encouragement. Things will be alright, so quit your worry. I get it. The odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, no, you'll stand tall. Sat and watch from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games to play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude, knowing it'll be over soon. Ever need a boost? Count on me for the 1-2. Trouble don't last when the tough get going. Baby, all we do is win, so show me my opponent. Adversity, doubt, stress, could care less, cause how we handle those like an S on our chest.